Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, New Israel viewers. Tonight, we are hosting Professor Elisha Haas, Professor Emeritus from Bar-Ilan University. We will record this brief and we will broadcast it later today all over New Israel platforms. At the end of this brief, you will be able to ask Professor Haas questions. Please make sure that your microphones are on mute all over the brief, and only if you want to ask something at the end of it, you can open it. Professor Haas, please.
Okay, good evening. I want to discuss the difficulty of dealing with a nation like Iran. And the question is, why do they sign agreements and ignore them? Why you cannot do business with them? Why you cannot get a treaty and that they will follow their own interest? And they do not accept the conditions. They do not care when their country is destroyed, and they can suffer. This is because they do not fight for their own interest. They are fighting the war for Allah. And Allah is known in Arabic as Allah has the sabr. Sabr means that Allah is the one who can suffer and do not care for a long time. So the Islamists and the jihad, they're willing to suffer for a long time, and that's the principle of a war of attrition. They want to let us get tired of the war and give up. And since they are fighting for Allah, they do not care about terrible destruction, terrible way of life, terrible conditions. For instance, in the 80s, Saddam Hussein attacked Iran. The war prolonged for 8 years, and destruction in Tehran was terrible. There are people who say that 500,000 Iranians were killed in the war. Some would say that they lost 1 million people. And only after 8 years, they said, okay, Saddam is also a Muslim. So the quarrel between the Muslims can be stopped because they had to give up, but not when they are fighting against the infidels. Thus, the extreme jihad was created only when postmodernism came to the world. The jihad became very aggressive, and you know that 1979 is a turning point when the Shiite revolution came to Tehran. And that's because of the weakness of the West, or the vacuum in the West. And therefore, they believe that eventually the West will be conquered and overcame. And therefore, why stop the war? And then, since the war is for Allah, and still there is a sabr, then even if many Iranians are killed, and even if they kill their own people, and even if they don't have water and don't have electricity, and they have no money, and the inflation is terrible, no, it doesn't count. The only question is whether they can destroy Israel, but not the state of Israel. Not only overcome and conquer the land. No, they have to eradicate the Jewish tradition. They have to get over and abolish the Jewish religion. And this is only the first step. The second step, of course, is the Christian's world. So this is a war against the culture. It is a war between the culture, the Islamist culture, or the jihadist, and the Judeo-Christian cultures. And this needs to have a full eradication. And for that, since this is the war of Allah and not an interest of the Iranian people, then you cannot satisfy it. You cannot get to a peaceful solution by normal conditions that you impose on them. No, there is only two possibilities. One is when it becomes intolerable and the chance of obtaining the goal of the war are too small, they can make a hodna. Hodna means ceasefire until they will be strong enough and renew the war. The second is when we destroy them and we threaten their own religion. So here in Israel, we have the same war in the south with Hamas, in the north with Hezbollah. Both of them do not want to free Palestine. No, not at all. They want to destroy the Jewish state and destroy the Jewish culture and conquer and get sovereignty in the Temple Mount, not far from here. There is only one solution with the war with the proxies of Iran here in Israel. We have to destroy the Gaza Strip and make it clear that they have to look for another place in the world. And the Middle East is big enough, and there are many Islamic countries around that can accept them. So there is a big mistake by the policy of the United States to get deals with Hamas. You cannot make a deal with Hamas because you are making a deal with Allah, and Allah doesn't want a deal. He wants end to the Jewish tradition in the Middle East. Same with Hezbollah. So if we do now a retreat and if we pull back from Lebanon, and if we do not destroy the third part of the Gaza Strip that is still under Hamas, there will be an endless war. Don't think that you can rebuild Hamas, rebuild the Gaza Strip without first eradicating Hamas. That means killing those who attacked us and deporting the other part of the population, because all the population in Gaza are jihadists. All of them elected Hamas, supported Hamas. Not a single one of them helped us with information about where where our prisoners were in Gaza. We had to do it alone. So there is only one solution there, not Hudna, not deal, not rebuilding, not rehabilitation, but total destruction. This is with Hamas and Hezbollah. With Iran, we have to get to a point of maybe Hudna, because this is a state, not a terror organization. So this is the difficulty with our neighbors and with Iran. It is because they are not fighting for themselves. They are fighting for Allah. And the war that Allah sends them to do is endless. Endless. So don't have any dream with deals with Iran. The only deal is keep attacking them more and more and more with patience. The patience that Allah has will end after a long time. But you cannot cut a deal with them because the deal is meaningless. So that's a lesson about how to deal with people, with nations that think that their mission from Allah is to eradicate us. The only way is to deal with them in the same terms. You know, the Rabbi Cook used to say that you should be ferocious according to the ferocity of the enemy. You should adapt yourself to the enemy you deal with. You cannot deal with jihadists the way you had to deal with Germany in order to overcome them in the Second World War. This is a different world. So let us consider it, let us remember it, and not fall into traps with the jihadists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Haas, for this interesting brief. Let's see if we will have any question from the audience. I see some people here. Mark, if you want to ask something, you can open your microphone and ask. I see Chaya as well. Okay. It seems that there are no questions. Professor Haas, thank you very much for this brief, and we hope to see you again very soon. All the best from Israel. Bye-bye.